the egregious way in which the wealthy have become accustomed to using the remainder of the human population as their personal playthings. Please, dear society, recognize how you have been personally and impersonally exploited in a very undignified way. A multitude of different ways. But a lot of this, it follows the same pattern and principles, that really have been utilized, the big lie, to exploit people really forever. And there are some commonalities to these things that it should be more people should be aware of. Well, I guess history, history would be a good thing to be aware of, in the sense that these manipulation schemes, from, I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of manipulation of, all types of influence. We'll just say it like that, all types of influence. It's become a very, not even nihilistic, not even anarchistic, it's narcissistic. And it's narcissistic to the detriment of everyone. There are all these computer programs to simulate, outcomes and systems, all types of systems that you can use to parallel society. And so essentially, trickery, scammery, non-cooperative, and self-important or indulgent behavior advantages that individual only when the number of individuals doing that is relatively small. Once the number of individuals starts to grow, then the cohesion collapses and everyone suffers rapidly. What we're seeing right now is similar to what happened in really Nazi Germany, where you have the sycophantic dogmatization of patriotism, and also the sycophantic dogmatization of other in-group mechanisms. Religion is a big one. A lot of in-grouping in religion. And the fact of the matter is that we are all one people. Any organization or fraternity that utilizes their coalescence and cohesion to exploit and disadvantage anyone outside of that group is inherently fucking evil. I mean, it is. It just is. And any organization that discourages you from educating yourself is inherently evil. I mean, it's manipulating you. It's manipulating your ignorance. Anything or anyone that tries to prevent you from educating yourself is manipulating your ignorance. I'm going to say it again. Anyone or anything, any organization that tries to prevent you from educating yourself is manipulating your ignorance. And the thing is you need to realize that almost all media right now is geared towards exploiting your ignorance and sowing and fostering it, encouraging individual behavior that discourages the middle and lower classes from coalescing and realizing the next society which is outlined, or anticipated, we should say, anticipated in the New Testament, but really outlined pretty remarkably in the Port Huron Statement. So I'm going, not obviously this show, so this is my first callback to the titling and all this stuff. So I did reread the Port Huron Statement. I haven't finished it yet, but I have been, I'm very close to finishing it though now, but I've been reminded of why I did really like it when I first read it when I was, a teenager now. So, kudos to Tom Hayden. I haven't looked up if he's still alive, but if he is still alive, I'm gonna have to try and contact him, because there's an emergency happening in Port Huron, and it's being mimicked in other locations, but what's happening here is especially egregious for a multitude of reasons that I will be going into in the near future. But for right now, let's just discuss what a great blueprint for the next society, or at least the motivation for it, and even a rough guideline of how it should be structured, is given to us with the Port Huron Statement. And, it's not that anyone else couldn't think of this type of political, economic, communal, whatever, structure. And it's not that it is a very particularly defined structure. I would argue that it's in line with my personal ethic, in that it defines a society which benefits through its own altruism and mutual support of one another by elevating the value of humanity over the value of individual monetary gain. Because ultimately, money isn't real, and your net worth isn't a high score, and what game are you playing if you think it is? And, money is best spent by improving the greater condition of humanity. If you have the wealth and resources to realize it, it will be the most enriching thing that you will do, and nothing else will. Damn it. It will be a constant struggle, of self-satisfaction, and to satiate your strange and, what's the word, mirage-like endeavors and lusts. I mean, I don't know. There is something to be said by, I don't know if it would be considered self-actualization or just altruism and empathy, but the problem is that people are exploiting you, whoever you are, regardless, even if you are among the donor class. You are, strangely enough, and you can tell by the psychology of all this, and I'll go into that at some point, but there are a lot of indicators that suggest that the donor class, the beneficiaries, the sole real beneficiaries, that and the political class, which is a parallel class, but one that's not quite as resourced, but those two classes are really the primary beneficiaries. You could argue that the professional class does have some unique, opportunities because of this really Faustian deal made between the politicians and the ultra-rich. The professional class is pretty much emerging as the only skilled and abled class, really. I don't know, intellectually, I guess. I don't know. And I don't even necessarily agree with that. They're just the only ones that are given the agency, is ultimately what it is. And that is classism. But ultimately, the professionals are acquiescing because they are getting that, a class quality of life, though they don't have the same glut of resources that, the lawyers don't have the same money that the owners have, type thing, but they have a lot of money, and so they're not complaining, but everyone beneath the professional class is getting egregiously over and appallingly manipulated, and that's the core of trying to correct that, because that is the core issue. The reason we have so much mental health is because of that. Mental health issues, is because of that. A lot of it is actually more of a rational and ethical response to a terrible and disturbing society than it is, a personal or whatever mental failing. I mean, if you see so much injustice over and over again, it's going to manifest, mental and emotional trauma. And that's why we are seeing such horrible rates of, mental issues. It's clear. I mean, and this is a society of security theater. They pretend as though there's safety and they're doing something about it, but it's all just theater and contractor embezzlement. That's what just keeps coming back to these embezzlement schemes over and over again. And again, something that really does support my statement, even though it is amongst, a pivotal distraction paradigm. But, the Detroit Tigers, they have a completely flat and league minimum salary right now on their roster, and they're going on an amazing run. Not only that, but yeah, it was August 14th, I think, when I was like, you know what? If give me a sign if I'm right about these couple of things, which I've been getting more and more evidence to it. But I did ask the cosmos, I did ask God, if he would please tell me tell me if I'm on the right pursuit, and if I'm right about a couple of other things in how well the Tigers do. If they make the playoffs, that would be confirmation, because it was 1 in 500 at that point is what the odds were going at. And so I figured it was an appropriate, kind of like a, geez, if that happens, then I should really dedicate to this, and I think I'm right about a couple of other things, But, go Tigers. I really like this team on an individual basis, and they seem to embody that cooperation ethic that I'm trying to promote. Because that's all that really needs to happen, is people just need to start being altruistic, cooperative. They need to follow the, New Testament golden rule concept. And if you look into scholarship on the Bible, or if you really read it deeply, you go into Dante a little bit, he identified betrayal and intellectual fraud. So manipulating your intelligence to deceive someone, most especially to manipulate the religion to deceive someone. He considered that and betrayal is the worst two sins, and that's very well supported in the New Testament. And, I think that the example set by the New Testament represents a movement from the eye for an eye ethic to the turn the other cheek ethic, and that's a key ethic in the advancement of society and the advancement of intelligence and ethics and all these things. So the New Testament example is a good example, but it can be manipulated, so be wary. Please be wary. You will know them by their fruits, I'm trying to tread the line here. I'm trying not to offend anyone, because there is a truth to the New Testament ethic, a profound truth that draws people. Just understand, though, that what's drawn you is the ethic. Don't let personalities exploit the Bible and Jesus in order to convince you to do or enable cruel and evil things. Please. And then, I'll go into it later on my personal ethical pursuit a little bit later. I came up with a good idea today to hopefully promote this, because I do need to pivot into promoting this, because the solutions that I'm looking for, they're just not going to be realized in any other way, I've determined. Smash that like button on all that crap. I'm going to start promoting this real soon, so if that's going to be relevant, I'm going to have to do so much more work on the graphics. Oh my god. Bye-bye.